How does wearing a visible tattoo, affect business, management, leadership, and strategy? Now, one may begin to ignore this aspect of business management and its impact, in perception, the way people perceive us, the way people trust us, the way people believe in us. Just create a visual imagination, what we call eidetic imagery, of a banker walking into your business environment or walking into your office, trying to mobilize funds for deposit from you. And suddenly you observe that all around his body, the visible part of his body, are all written with all shapes of tattoo. Tell me what your perception will be. And tell me whether you'll be very comfortable, entering into that business deal, entering into that business relationship. Would you be very comfortable, to drop your, money is with him? So this is the impact of perception. There's this saying, this balance and axiom that talks about perception becoming reality. The way people perceive you is has a relationship or a link to the level of trust they may likely, behold around you. So in leadership and in management, the way people are perceived, the way they appear. Imagine a captain of an industry, maybe a group CEO of a bank, an oil company, or the president of a nation, appearing in a public gathering with all over him with visible tattoos. How will you perceive? You might think he's a rascal. You might say, which kind of a leader is this? And that begins to impact on your perception for that leader. You may begin to see him from a different lens and prism because you are seeing what you think is not corporate enough. So for people in the corporate world, they do not wear tattoo. No, I'm not looking at it from the spiritual angle, or maybe where people look at the components of the ink, that is used in tattoo. Some people have said, oh, these are human body that are, processed over time and, turned to carbon, and it is used as exemplified in this video up here. So if you look at it from that perspective, it's a different thing entirely. But look at it from the, business perspective, from leadership perspective, from management perspective, and from individual corporate, appearance, how does that affect business? Do you think it's something that helps business? Do you think it's something that, takes away from the corporate perception of role incumbents, the holders of roles, the holders of positions? How do you feel if you see people wearing tattoo and holding positions of authority in the corporate world? In the corporate world, I'm limiting it. I'm not talking about what happens in some other industries where this thing now appears like a norm. But in the corporate world, how does it affect leadership and perception of incumbents, perception of role incumbents, those who hold, very serious offices? How are they perceived? How does that inform, their colleagues about them? How do they see them? Is this something you think is a norm within the corporate world, or you think it's not? Therefore, I am saying that wearing tattoo in the corporate environment is something I believe takes away from positive impression and, image that corporate people should exhibit. Thanks.